have somewhat against thee, because thou hast left thy first love. I want to talk from the subject, don't lose your love. Revelation was written by John, and John in chapter 1, he was exiled to the island of Patmos on a Sunday afternoon. And there he was caught up in the Spirit and received the glory of God, and God gave him the future plans, watch this, for the Savior, the saint, the sinner, and Satan. Do I got a witness here? He gives us here the highlights of his components and characteristics of Jesus in Revelation is his majesty and almighty. When you look at Revelation, you will discover that John displays his highlights, his majesty, by speaking of God's throne. Yes, and his throne represents the fact that he has power, prestige, and position. Do I got a witness here? When you look at Revelation, you will discover that can't nobody contend with God. Can't nobody compare to God. And you will find no matter how wicked and evil the devil is, he cannot defeat God. I wish I had somebody that can testify to the fact that in Revelation you can rejoice because you will find that your God is victorious. And no matter what the devil has done to your family, no matter what he has done to our community, I've come to discover that in Revelation he will not defeat God. Yes, the book of Revelation, you will discover that God will distribute his promise and display his power. Young people, Revelation is not a scary book. You don't have to be afraid of the book of Revelation. If you are a child of God, if you are born again, it is a victorious book. Now, I got to witness here. And it gives us our rewards and our benefits. Revelation is split up, Pastor Sorrells, in three halves. Chapter 1, it gives us simply things that we have seen. Yes, chapter 2 and chapter 3, it is talking to the seven churches, which is the things which are the current age. Chapter 4 and chapter 22 is the things that will take place after the rapture. And I want to let you know, church, you don't want to be here after chapter 3. If you still here after chapter 3, you're going to have some problems. You better hope and pray to God that you're caught. You hear that you're not here, but you are caught up after chapter 3. Yes, when we look at Revelation here in chapter 2, Jesus is giving him the idea of what the church ought to be and what the church ought to become. Have I got a witness here? And John brings back the report, and he reports to the church of Ephesus, and he identifies three things, and I'm going to take my seat. And I want to encourage the church of God to listen to this message real carefully. First of all, let's evaluate the positive. Yes, let's evaluate the positive. Chapter 2, verse 2 and 3, it lets us know that Jesus commends the church. He says, I know thy works, I know thy labor, and thy patience. You have been patient. You have endured like a good soldier. You have done well. You've come to choir rehearsal. You have learned the song. You've come to Bible study. He commends the church. We have to learn how to evaluate the positive of the church. And I've come to tell you, there's always some positive things that are going on in the church. Do I got a witness here? And those are the things that the church needs to focus on, is the positive things in the church. We must not dwell on negative things. I'm tired of church folk coming to church and dwelling on negative things. But we got to learn how to focus on the positive things of the church. Let's evaluate the positive. Jesus commends the church. And I want to commend Pastor Sorrells at the great work that he's doing on this corner. I want to commend this choir for doing such a great job. I want to commend the faithful ushers that have been doing their job. Let's not dwell on the negative. There are some folk that come to church and they bring in a negative spirit, always talking about the things of the church, always talking down on the pastor's vision. If you can't ride with the vision, you need to go somewhere else. You ain't got a witness here. If you're not going to abide by the rules of the house, you need to find another church. But as long as you're a member of this church, he has the vision. You got to learn how to follow the vision and be positive about the vision. Have we got a witness? Yeah. We cannot. My grandma used to always say there is positive in everybody. In your marriage, you may get discouraged. You may want to leave your husband or your wife, but something drew you to that person somehow. And I'm going to tell you, there ain't no need of you leaving your church because something has drawn you to this church. Have I got a witness here? And you got to find what is it that keeps me coming to church? What is it that keeps me coming to Bible study when I don't feel like coming? We got to look at the positive things of the church. Yeah, don't focus about the folk that have left the church, but look at who the church has left. Don't worry about who's not here, but focus on who is here. Have I got a witness here? We got to look at the positive things of the church. In the midst of this recession, the church is still financially taken care of. That there's not no padlocks on the door. Let's look at the positive things of the church. Got some new pews and some carpet. That is some positive things in the church. The church is still growing. People are still being baptized. Lives are still being changed. That's the positive of the church. And I've come to encourage the church that the best is still yet to come. God is not through on this corner. God is not through with this church. The best is yet to come. We got a witness here. I want to encourage you. Watch this. Stay away from negative people. Stay away from gossip. Stay away from drama. Talking to somebody. Stay away from mess. Because you know you get dressed and you prepare to come to church and to worship, and you sit down and you're happy and you're excited, and then here come one of them church folk sit next to you complaining about everything that's going on in the service. You got to learn how to avoid negative people that's in the ministry. Do I got a witness here? But you got to learn how to be positive. I didn't come to church to hear no gossip. I didn't come here for that mess. If you want to talk, go sit somewhere else. Don't sit next to me with all of that foolishness and all of that mess. We got to maintain a positive attitude when we come into the house of God. I got a witness here. I want to commend you, church, that have been faithful through all of the persecution, all of your pain and your misery, that you have not abandoned your church. You have not abandoned your responsibility, but you have remained faithful. Not only must we evaluate, watch this, the positive, but the second observation is, let's expose the problem. Yes, let's expose the problem. Watch this. Jesus commends the church in verse 2 and 3. But in verse 4, he says, nevertheless, I have somewhat against you, which means he recognizes a problem. Now, here's my observation. There are 7 churches in the book of Revelation, and each church that he addresses in chapter 2 through chapter 3, he identifies a problem, which means this: there are problems in every church. Do I got a witness up here? I said, there is problems in every church. In other words, there's no need of you leaving your church to go join another church, because you can leave of a problem in your church but go to another church with more problems. Do I got a witness up here? There are problems everywhere. You cannot avoid the problems in the church. Every church has some problems. Watch this. Ephesus was a very prosperous church. Yes, this church was decorated good on the outside, had a beautiful on the inside. This church had it going on. But watch this, even though it looked good on the outside, there was an inward problem. And the problem was they had left their first love. I'm ready to preach now. Their love for God had begun to decline. And when your love for God begins to decline in the church, it will affect how you serve your God. And if you want to know how much folk really love God, just watch how they serve God. Yeah, if you want to know how much a husband loves his wife, let's see how well he takes care of her. Have I got a witness here? Yeah, he's talking about he loves her, but her hair is never done. The bills are all backed up. Then something is wrong. Have I got a witness here? He's driving a BMW and she's driving a Bug. Something is wrong. If he loves her, it ought to show. And if you love God, it ought to show in how you serve your God. Outside look good, but their walls are in a problem. They have again